What's going on? It's Elusive here. We got a little bit of a train drive-by for you guys before we start the video. So say hello to the train. It's going away currently. I've been here for like, I think I've been here for like 10 minutes so far. So this train's going bye-bye. So I made the most recent video I made about the CRZ, which is what this video is gonna be about again today. I made my least favorite things, so basically the cons of the CRZ, correct? And a lot of people were not very happy with that, and I said throughout the video that there would be a longer version of the good about the CRZ, and a lot of people didn't like that. They weren't really a big fan of me talking about the cons of the CRZ for whatever reason. A lot of people know about them, and it's just like, why would you not want to talk about them? I don't know. It's just, to me, it was really weird. People got offended by that. But here we are with the video of everything I love about the Honda CRZ. And as I mentioned in the last video, there's a lot more things I like about the CRZ than there is that I hate about it. And people took offense to that last video because I talked about the bad things about it, which, oh my god, there's cons about a car you like. I'm so sorry. Even though I like the CRZ overall as a car, I wanted to talk about the bad stuff first because it's kind of still silly to not talk about the bad stuff and leave it out when there are cons to talk about. I don't know, that's just my opinion. Not people who were offended about last video. I don't know what the hell the issue was. You can't talk bad about my favorite car. It's like, just fucking chill your horses, dude. Every car has fucking cons. Even the RSX that I love so dearly has cons. And it's just what it is. So, alright, here we are with some of the good stuff. So, to start out, honestly, the most obvious thing is this thing is a Honda. So this thing is reliable as shit. I've never owned anything other than Honda so far, and so far they've never let me down. So I will stick by that. With Honda, is very reliable, and not even that, like, just parts are really cheap. Obviously you're gonna have your parts here and there that are gonna cost an arm and a leg just because of, you know, weird shit that goes on in the world, but for the most part, maintaining these cars are very, very easy, very cheap. If something goes out in these cars, it's generally something that's been happening for a while now. It's a well-known issue for the most part. Like I said, obviously you're going to have those rare occurrences where something goes out that's a little more expensive than others or whatever else. But for the most part, 90% of your costs on this car are going to be general maintenance. That's generally all I've had to do to most of my vehicles that I've ever owned. So the nice part too about these cars is they're really fucking light. So when it comes to it, this kind of goes hand in hand with gas mileage. So I'm going to kind of use these both to begin with. Personally, I like smaller cars, so that's just kind of what I like. People like trucks, that's your own thing, but this is a pros for me, not for everybody. So reasons why I love the CRZ. So it's a very light car, and it's a very small car, very nimble. So that being said, with how light it is as well, it gets very good gas mileage. Yes, it's a hybrid. Yes, it should get higher gas mileage, but is somebody really going to complain about getting upwards of 35 miles per gallon no matter what? I won't complain about it, but some people might. I don't have a problem with it. Like I said, I come from the RSX, which gets 30 max miles per gallon, so this thing, I guess, gets a little bit more gas mileage, and I can't really complain about it. It's not really something you can complain about. My next favorite thing, I guess, about this car is it's very unique. Like, don't get me wrong, the rear end looks sort of like a Prius, which I won't throw shade on. Like I said, I won't throw shade on it because I think this car looks really cool. Just reminds me of like a little spaceship. Being inside, it's like a little spaceship. Now, it sounds kind of corny and shit, but that's how I feel in this car. It's like a little spaceship. It looks kind of cool on the outside. It's pretty unique. There's not really a whole lot of cars that look like it, especially from the Honda lineup. Now that I've owned it for a little while, I kind of compare this to the 9th Gen Civic. It looks just like the 9th Gen Civic from the front, but then it has like a weird kind of uniqueness to the back, which is pretty cool. Like I said, I don't see a whole lot of these around me. There's only a few in my city that I've ever seen. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty unique car. The styling's all unique. A lot of the interior bits are all unique. So with that being said, another cool thing about this car, I'm really a big fan of the dash, how they set up the dash and all that. The colors really get me too. That's a cool thing. Once I bought this car, that was definitely my most favorite thing for a really long time, was the dash and how it changes colors when you're using the hybrid system, all this and that. It's just a cool system how they portrayed their hybrid system, and really it's a unique way of doing it. Nobody else, at least I know of, has done it this way, and just a very cool dash. Another cool thing with this car is it's technically the predecessor to the Honda CRX, a well-known Honda, and the CRX was known for its boxy look and, you know, just raw power. It's obviously not the same as a CRX. Yes, it's a hybrid. It's not a naturally aspirated, whatever you want to say. I understand what you're saying. I've never owned a CRX, but when looking into getting one, I noticed the CRZ, and it kind of stood out to me as something that I could get with a CRX Spirit. Obviously not, like I said, obviously not the same. There are main differences, but it takes the looks of the CRX and it just makes it more futuristic in my opinion. And again, that's kind of why this car caught my attention. A lot of people shit on these cars for not really being a predecessor or like a successful predecessor to the CRX, but then again, you got to look at what Honda's done for like predecessors in the past. They just made the new Integra, and that thing was a flop in my opinion. So think about it that way. I'd rather have this over the Integra, and personally they did a better job on this than they did the Integra. They could have kept going with this, but they'd stopped making it because of sales and stuff like that. So next thing I want to talk about too is the hatch space. Like for this being a really small short car, kind of like being a go-kart, this thing has a lot of hatch space. I use this car a little bit. I'm a little bit of a snowboarder now. My buddy John got me into it. Shout out John, he's probably watching this. But he got me into snowboarding this year, and I started using this as a snowboarding car, and it actually worked perfect. Like, all I had to do was move this passenger seat up a little bit, and it was a perfect car for snowboarding. I could fit my snowboard back here, I could fit all my boots back here, I could fit all my equipment back here, so really it was a great car for that. Other than that, I mean, you could really haul almost anything in this, to some extent, but it's damn near a truck bed in the back, damn near. Not as long as a truck bed, but damn near a truck bed. So I come from an RSX again, so hatch space is I'm kind of used to the hatch space now. I kind of expect it actually sometimes. It's sad, but yeah, it definitely has a lot taller room for hatch space. The RSX is a little bit longer, so it has a little bit longer hatch space, but this definitely is not much less hatch space than the RSX. Another thing is too, this could be a pro or con depending on your stature, but I'm a very short individual. I'm only 20 years old, I'm 5'6", so I haven't even hit puberty yet probably. So this car fits me very well. If you're a little taller, you might not like it as much, but personally the way it fits me, I feel like you could be even a little bit taller, maybe less than 6 foot, and it could still fit you very well. You can always obviously move your seat back and stuff, but I mean the roof clearance is pretty good. I got probably 8 inches between me and the roof, so depending on how tall you are and stuff, it might not be the best fit for you, but personally I'm 5'6", and I fit pretty good in this thing. Another great quality with this car is it has electric steering rack. So I've never actually owned a car with electric steering rack before, or actually driven one, I guess, too. So the main difference that I was used to power steering, obviously, and that's obviously a way different feel. Electric power steering is so smooth and just effortless. Power steering is, I don't know, like I said, it really depends. It's kind of all up to you what you like better. I'm a bigger fan of the power steering on the RSX and all the other older Hondas, but personally the electric power steering is really nice. It's so, like I said, it's so effortless and smooth. I won't name it a con just because I prefer something better, but it's very smooth, effortless. And then going with the electric power steering, this car is very driver oriented. Just got sporty feel and all that. Everything for climate control, all that stuff feels like it's right on top of you, so it's all like right here. Some cars, climate control could be way over here, way out of the way and shit. Like, it's really nice that everything is right in front of you. That's kind of what I prefer as well. And then I did mention, I want to touch on this a little bit. I mentioned in the video of the cons that everybody got all upset about, that these cars have very bad visibility. But to touch on that more, the 2013 model and up, which is what I have here, 2014, they came with larger mirrors, as you can see. So that does help the issue with lower visibility. They also make a better visor. You can get not OEM, but you can also buy another visor that's a little bit longer, helps the visibility as well. And they also have factory backup cameras. I wanted to mention that as well. These cars have factory backup cameras, 2013 and up, and then the backup camera goes right here in the rearview mirror. So that's another thing I thought was cool about these cars. And then again, touching on what I mentioned about the cons, this car sits really low, so that means it's a lot easier to bottom out. But in my experience, with how low this car sits, the ride quality doesn't really, like stock suspension I'm not talking like coilover and stuff. Stock suspension, these cars ride decently well for how low they sit. I'm not gonna lie, it's not a perfect ride, it's not like an SUV ride, but this thing does sit very nice and ride very nice for how low it is. And then I also mentioned, I don't want to keep saying the same thing, but in the cons video about the interior color, how the black and gray that come in the 2011 up CRZ, or 2011-2012 CRZ, sorry, I apologize. That color is kind of, it's iffy. I'm not a fan of it. Some people are. Like I said, that this interior for the 2013 and up CRZs is one of my favorite interiors of the Honda CRZ, and it comes with the red accents, all black. Like I said, the red stitching on the steering wheel, red stitching on the seats. Just a kind of a cool, sporty interior that I was kind of a fan of. So I've been kind of going pretty fast through all these, just trying to chug along the video so it's not too boring for you guys. Like I said, if you guys do have a lot of good things you want to mention that I do miss in this video, be sure to leave them in the comments. But the last thing I'm going to talk about that I love about the CRZ is, although it doesn't have a very good aftermarket support, the Honda, I guess not really Honda, the brand Mugen, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with if you have owned a Honda or ever heard of a Honda in your life. Mugen, the race company that makes very expensive parts that end up emptying people's bank accounts, they ended up making a Mugen CRZ. So they ended up modifying their own CRZ, making parts for it, all that. So there's actually an authentic Mugen body kit for these cars, and as well as the history that goes behind Mugen. It's just kind of cool that Mugen took their work to the CRZ, even though it was kind of frowned upon in the beginning. That's another thing I want to mention. It's that a lot of people don't appreciate the fact that Mugen actually made the CRZ, not made the CRZ, but made their own version of the CRZ with the body kit, all that. And then the very last thing I wanted to mention is, one of the things that keeps me coming back to the CRZ is the amazing sound system. So if you really like listening to music, I'm a big fan of music. Whoever else is can probably agree to this. The sound system in these cars are very good, like relatively for stock. I'm not going to say this thing is like the best car ever for sound systems. All I can say is stock for stock, this car will beat any of the cars I've ever been in for sound system wise. It's just got really good speakers. It's got a really tiny sub in the back. It's just, you can't really beat it for the value. So yeah, that's all I kind of have for everything I love about the CRZ. If I did miss something, let me know. That being said, we will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys, motherfuckers. Take care.
They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that could make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. I got all this potential that's deep inside of me, but they